Let's go with the Seahawks as they kick off. Another year here. I mean, I feel like this team, very interesting offseason. No Geno Smith, get rid of their quarterback. No DK Metcalf, get rid of your wide receiver. A lot of change coming to this Seattle front as the front office really starts to make their team in Seattle. Who would you, Mike, who would you go with at pick number 18 for the Seahawks?
I had a really interesting one down, written down. I put Egbuka down as I just go over the depth chart again. You have JSN as your number one. He's a guy that can play on the inside. Just another interesting development, right? Seattle fired their offensive coordinator in the offseason. I felt like he really helped unlock JSN's abilities. The trade for Cooper Kupp was very surprising because I felt like they're very much the same player in terms of skill set, size. And then they added MVS on the side or on the outside, who was, a deep threat. But I mean, as a Packer fan, MVS was I shouldn't be saying this in the Seattle war room, but as a Packer fan, MVS is a one-trick pony, right? He's go. He's a go route guy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't know how much that really tracks with Sam Darnold's skill set. Going from Justin Jefferson, who was a guy that had a tree route that was almost infinite, and then Jordan Addison on the outside as well. I think, and I'm open to have my mind changed here, but I think you take the one of the top rated wide receivers that's left on the board. I think you go with Mbuka. You really just triple down on receiver, and give Sam Darnold a plethora of options. I am inviting the supermodel to the model show right now.
I was going to say, this is a very Seattle move. Remember, this is the same team that drafted Smith and Jigba while already having two very established wide receivers on the outside. Adam, would you argue that point?
Yeah, not vehemently. I do love adding to the offense, and I don't hate adding a third wide receiver. I just think those three wide receivers are all too similar to each other. I don't know that they necessarily bring different skill sets, or that Emeka Buka would bring that much difference to the offense. So I'm going. I thought about O-line here. They really have missed Damian Lewis, who went to the Panthers. Tyler Booker out of Bama would be a great pick here, but I'm going Colson Loveland. I do think they need another receiving option. You paid Sam Darnold a bunch of money. You're not top dollar or anything, but you paid him to come in and be a good quarterback for you. So we need some options. Noah Fant is fine. Colson Loveland, I think he just gives you a huge presence in the middle that takes some attention away from the receivers who, Cooper Kupp isn't taking the top off defenses. JSN might on a few plays, but really we just need versatility in this offense. And if we're not drafting a deep threat wide receiver, then I think we need to draft someone who's going to control that middle of the field.
Yeah, I agree. I almost feel like in this team, while I have Ibuka higher on my personal draft board, I almost feel like a Luther Burden would make more sense just because, like you said, a Smith and Jigba and Ibuka almost play a very similar role, which isn't that crazily different from a Cooper Kupp. We're kind of hitting the same nail quite a few times here. You mentioned Tyler Booker and Gray Zabel. I believe from the offensive side, Eli, I believe that you were kind of feeling Zabel in this conversation. Offensive line feels really important for me in this conversation, especially knowing how poor Sam Darnold was when under pressure last year. It was really the clean pockets that Minnesota provided him that really let him be the player that he was last year. I think we need to focus on that offensive line. Eli, do you agree?
Yep. That was going to be my exact argument, John.
Okay.
That's what I was going to say. And we had one good starter in Charles Cross, and the rest of our O-line is terrible. Gray Zabel. Our center is fine. But adding Zabel, who can play anywhere along the interior, and letting Sam have the time to throw the ball, to the investments we made at receiver, is how we should spend our highest pick this year. We do have 2 second-round picks, so we can address some of the skill talent in the second round.
So
yep, that's
actually what I wanted to say.
Second round pick coming over from the DK trade. Yeah. Yes, Adam, go ahead.
No, I completely forgot. I made this mental note before I started talking. Completely forgot. 50 and 52 are where they're picking in the second round. They can hit O-line and receiver a number 3 receiver and an interior offensive line at 50 and 52. So again, I think getting a standout player in the first is more important, and then getting those solid, kind of just build it's almost like the connector muscles of the body, not the big biceps and triceps,
They
but the
can't
connector muscles.
protect the quarterback.
And I gotta
But you
say,
can get a guard in the second round.
I don't want to. You know what? You can get a guard in the second round, but I think with Booker and Zabel on the table right now, available to you, I think it's too hard for me to pass on one of them, knowing full well that this is the problem. We've got 2 good running backs. We've got 2 good wide receivers. We just spent a whole bunch of money on a quarterback, and yet I don't think that line can do anything to essentially help them get to the top. Give me an offensive lineman here. Gray Zabel just over Booker in my mind. Let's add him to the neon green.